Okay, so for number 15, we got zinc oxide, which is an ionic compound. Zinc has a charge of 2 plus and oxygen 2 minus, so it's just ZNO, right? Reacts with hydrogen chloride, HCl. This is a -1, that's a +1, so that compound is also swapped and dropped. All right, what kind of reaction is that? Double replacement. All right, so I'm going to swap the metals. Hydrogen's acting as the metal here, so I'm going to have hydrogen with oxygen, and I'm going to have zinc with chlorine. All right, now I've got to drop and swap. This is a -2, this is a +1. H2O. Okay, that one kind of makes sense. And then zinc is a 2 plus, chlorine's a 1 minus, so zinc chloride. All right, then I got to go back and balance. A 2 here should take care of everything. Okay, questions on that one? How many people are done 16? Okay, I'll give you a couple more minutes and I'll walk through that one. All right, let's look at 16 here. So I've got copper 2 sulfate. What does the Roman numeral tell me again? It tells me the charge, right? So it helps me with the drop and swap. So this is the Cu with the 2 plus charge. It's with sulfate, which is a 2 minus. So that compound is good the way it's written. Is reacting with iron. Okay, iron solid just means iron. All right, what kind of reaction is that? Single replacement. Okay, so there's a kind of an exception in this one here that's kind of important for us to know. All right, I'm going to swap the things that are alike. Iron's a metal, so it's going to replace copper. That means copper ends up alone, and iron ends up with sulfate. Which iron? Right, the most common charge, which according to your periodic table is 2. Okay, we know that. Okay, there's no way for us to have figured that out because when iron was on the reactant side, it was an element and had no charge. So we have to assume that it was the most common charge, okay, and that this is going to be the 2 plus iron. Since this is 2 minus, okay, those cancel each other off, and the whole reaction is already balanced. All right, questions on that one? So that's one of those little rules that comes up, and we have to remember it. If we don't, then we're likely to get a reaction wrong. So if they don't tell you what the charge is, they told us what the charge on copper was, okay, but they didn't tell us what it was on iron, so we had to go with the most common. Everybody okay with that? All right, I'll give you a few more minutes and I'll do 17 and 18. All right, let's have a look at 17. So we've got bromine liquid, and they told us it's Br2. I probably wouldn't tell you that on a test. I would expect that you would be able to remember bromine is a special element. Okay, so I've got bromine is reacting with potassium iodide. So that's Ki. This is a -1, that's a +1, so I've dropped and swapped that one correctly. Okay, what kind of reaction is that? Single replacement. Who's getting switched out of the potassium iodide? The I, because it's a non-metal, right? This is a non-metal, bromine's a non-metal, so it's got to trade places. That means I ends up by itself, and potassium ends up with bromine. All right, this is a +1, that's a -1, so that compound is dropped and swapped correctly. Is iodine special? Yes, and that's one of the things we always have to watch for in a single replacement reaction, is we could produce a special element, same as in a decomp reaction. Now I've got to go back and balance everything. So I'm going to start with iodine. I need a 2 here to balance the iodine, but that gives me 2 potassium. So I got to go over here and balance my potassium. That gives me 2 bromine, and there's 2 bromine over here. So I'm done. All right, questions on 17. All right, am I always using the same set of steps here, guys? All right, I'm writing the reactants, I'm identifying the type, I'm going with the pattern to figure out who goes together, I'm dropping and swapping, looking for specials, and then I'm balancing the whole reaction afterwards. It's always the same set of steps. Okay, how many people have done 18? All right, let's have a look at 18 then too. All right, so on 18, I've got zinc bromide. So zinc with bromine, okay? This is a -1 and this is a +2. So we're looking at ZnBr2 is mixed with silver nitrate solution, AgNO3, okay? That's something that'll catch people lots of times on a quiz or a test. Nitrate is NO3, not N. This is a -1, this is a +1, so that compound is fine the way I have it written. All right, what reaction starts with 2 ionic compounds? Double replacement. All right, the 2 metals are silver and zinc, so they got to switch places. Silver will end up with bromine, and zinc will end up with nitrate. Okay, this is a -1, that's a +1, so that compound is fine the way I have it written. This is a +2, and this is a -1. So in this case, I'm going to need brackets and a 2. Everybody with me there? Okay, now I've got to balance the whole reaction. Bromine is out of balance, so I'm going to put a 2 here to balance it, which now gives me 2 silver. So I've got to go back over here and make 2 silver, okay, and that gives me 2 nitrates. There's 2 nitrates over here. Looks good. All right, give you a few more minutes to do 19 and 20. Okay, let's look at 19 here. So I've got iron 2 sulfate. So they told me the charge on iron is 2+, okay? The charge on sulfate is 2-, so that compound is fine the way I have it written. Is mixed with potassium carbonate. All right, that means K with CO3, and carbonate is a -2, while potassium is a +1. So when I drop and swap, I'm going to need K2CO3 on this side. All right, those are both ionic compounds, so this is a double replacement reaction. Potassium and iron have to switch partners. So potassium will end up with sulfate. Iron will end up with carbonate. What do I have to do with these two compounds? Not balanced yet. Drop and swap. Okay, so this is a +1, this is a -2, so K2SO4. This is a +2, this is a -2, so that compound is fine the way that I have it written. Now I've got to go back and balance. Potassium's already balanced. Sulfate's 1 and 1. Carbonate's 1 and 1. Iron's 1 and 1. Compound, the whole reaction is already balanced. Okay. Questions on 19? How many people are done number 20? Okay, I'm going to give you a couple more minutes before I do 20 then. Okay, let's look at 20. So for number 20, I've got lead 2 nitrate, so Pb 2+ with nitrate. Nitrate is NO3, and it's a -1, so this will be NO3 A is mixed with potassium iodide, that's Ki. Right? That's a double replacement reaction, so lead and lead and potassium have to switch places. So potassium will end up with nitrate. That's a -1, that's a +1, so that one's good. Okay, and lead is going to end up with iodine. This is a -1, that's a +2, so it's got to be PbI2. And then to balance the whole reaction, I need a 2 here to balance my iodines, a 2 here to balance my potassiums. That gives me 2 nitrates. There's 2 over here. Everything else is good. Okay, a couple of reminders. First off, your unit exam I told you about yesterday, that is on March the 12th. So you should be starting to go over things, okay, work on some of the worksheets that are in your workbook, okay, things like that in order to prepare. I'm going to be teaching you the last stuff next week, and I will give you a review package probably on Monday so that you can start doing some unit exam review next week and coming in at scheduled help to ask questions. The lab report for the lab we do on Thursday will be due early next week, so I can get it back to you and you can use it to help you study. All right? We're going to be doing an assignment on reactions late this week, so be ready for that as well.